I had a woman who was like, these got me through chemotherapy. They were like the only thing I could eat. And I was like, that's exactly what I want out of this. Like, this is a lifestyle bar. It's like, this isn't just the endurance supplement that I think is so popular right now. Is like these high performance things for hybrid athletes or like whatever it may be. It's like, this is for you. Like, you're a human and you still need something to get you through your day, no matter if you're working out today or not. Like, you need that high quality product.
All right, we're back with Talk of the Town. Today we got a very, very special episode. Got a really cool guest today. We got Katie Boyle. I've known Katie for years now, and I'm super pumped for this one. Katie, what's going on?
So excited to be here, guys. Yeah, I mean, I was literally thinking about it on the ride here, how cool it is to talk to you because of where we started.
Crazy.
Versus like where we both are now. Yeah. Like, you were interning as a strength and conditioning coach, technically, like a personal trainer.
Yeah.
And I was just on the gym floor like a month by the time you showed up. And then we met, and now here we are. It's
crazy.
Sick.
It is crazy.
I didn't know the whole connection and everything too, so that's really cool.
You were interning.
Yeah, I was an intern. I was like hybrid media, like strength trainer intern. And Katie, you had the vision though, like of becoming, then like facility leader.
Yeah. I was, I guess, like a month in of just temporarily working at Gage before I opened up my gym location. So it was like very temporary that I was even there at the same time that you were there.
Right.
And then I left. That must have been what? That was your spring semester. So that was like February or March.
Yep.
And then I was out of there by like April or May. And then you were shooting all my content for Engage.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then it's just kept going from there.
Shout out Devin, right?
I know, for real. The man. He really is like the connection to all of this, which is dope.
Yeah, absolutely. Sweet. I mean,
it's a small world out there.
Yeah, especially in Westchester.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Eagle Eye Ticket Management, where honest pricing meets exceptional service, no hidden fees, no surprises, just straightforward ticket prices that don't change at checkout. Plus, mention Talk of the Town for an exclusive 10% discount off your next purchase. Visit them today. Experience ticket buying the way it should be.
Let's just dive in. Like, what's your story? Like, how'd you get into, like the fitness industry, and then like evolved from, being in the gym to now, having a supplement?
Yeah. So, I mean, it kind of actually started on the nutrition side and then went fitness, and then now is back to nutrition. Like, in high school, when I was figuring out what I wanted to do in college, I was like, oh, cool, I'll go for sports nutrition, be a registered dietitian. Started at UD for that. I was like being a personal trainer and stuff like that, but went to school to be a sports nutritionist and realized you have to do a clinical rotation if you want to be a registered dietitian, and I don't do hospitals. So I dropped that and was like, you know what, I'll go a different direction. So they have this like health behavior science program at UD, just general behavior change at like the individual, societal level and things like that. And had to minor in strength and conditioning because it's too vague of a major. So I was like, cool, let's roll with this, the fitness side of like the athlete thing. And I guess that was my sophomore year of college. I went out, I interned at Arizona State University with the strength and conditioning staff. I was like, this is dope, I definitely want to do this. Came back, worked at the University of Delaware for the next year and a half as an intern. Like, literally anytime I wasn't in class, I was in the weight room. I was sick. I'm so grateful to them. They're like, the staff there was like my Devin Gage of the strength and conditioning world. Like, all the connections that I could ever need got me going the right direction. And then COVID hit. And I guess that time for everyone is so fuzzy. I was like hired to be a part-time strength and conditioning coach, but then we were on Zoom. And then somewhere along the line, I got the offer to go be a grad assistant for a strength and conditioning staff at Temple for sport analytics. And I was like, screw it, like, let's go. And to be a female in the strength and conditioning world, you pretty much need a master's degree or else you're not going to go anywhere unless, like, I stayed at Delaware for the rest of my life, which I didn't think was going to happen. So I went with that, dropped out the first semester. I was like, I actually don't want to do this. And then took a personal training job because, again, still, like, wanted to be in that industry. That one didn't work out. I ended up managing some Anytime Fitnesses, the Exton one and the Coatesville one. That was like my first sales experience, like pre-growth dynamics of like just winging it and trying to sell. I mean, they were like $45 a month memberships. They're not hard to sell. And then sketchy Indeed post that was very vague and was like, we need someone to run a gym that doesn't exist yet. And that was Devin Gage. And I was like, you know what? Like, screw this. Let me go for it. And got started with him. But apparently, like, multiple past clients of mine have reminded me of stories of me telling them that I always wanted to own a protein bar company. And, like, I kind of remember those conversations, but, like, I think it's because you just eat protein bars all day long when you're a trainer or, like, you're into training. It's just the easiest thing to do, and they all are not good. So I guess I just brought it up a lot, and I was like, you know what, guys, I could do this so much better. And then I got a connection to do it. And I had a member at Engage Malvern when I was running the gym that was like, I know the food scientists at Drexel Food Labs. Like, you should just get in touch with them. And I was like, cool. Sent them an email. I was like, at some point in my life, I might want to do this. Like, would you guys want to be a part? And we started coming up with the recipe. And then as life went, this is like last May, I decided that, you know, training was a really cool part of my life. I loved it, but it was time to have an impact on people's health in a different way, and took off with Reframe. And now we're here. Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Wow.
I do remember shooting videos with you one time and you saying, you're like, yeah, like I've always dreamed about having a protein bar company. I vividly remember that. That's crazy.
I guess I
actually
just
happened.
like talked about it a lot. And me and Steph Breed, who I know mentioned it like the other week in her podcast, like we talked about protein bars all the time. And like as a personal trainer, you have to be careful because it's like not really in your scope of practice to give like to prescribe meal plans or like diets or anything like that. But people obviously look to you for nutrition advice and things like that. So you want to feel confident in what you're recommending to people, and I never felt confident in like recommending any brand to people. It was like, you could have this one for like the calories that you want, but those ingredients might mess with your stomach, or here's a clean label one, but it's not going to give you the right amount of protein you need. So it just, nothing ever lined up.
Yeah, no, that's tough. That's a tough tough place to be.
It's crazy how it all, like, you've tried all these different things, and then you've also said that you wanted to make a protein bar, and like you don't even realize you said it so much.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. Like, it's almost like you knew you wanted to do it from the beginning, and like it kind of all resonated and came back to that.
For sure. I'm like a huge believer in like speaking things into the universe, like either whether it's positive or negative. Like you got to be careful what you put out there because you could very well make it happen for yourself, which thankfully it turned out positively for me. But like I'll put it out into the universe and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta. I feel like.
How do you get a company like this off the ground? So like you said, you were put in contact with like the food scientists and like the labs and everything like that. How do you like take it from just an idea to maybe like here's a recipe to like actually production and now like selling these? How does that all work?
I sat on it for a couple months. I handed over the gym to my head trainer last May, and I didn't launch until I think it was like the very last week of August, if not into September of this past year. So 3 months pretty much of being like, literally, what do I do? Especially because I went from selling a service, like I was always the product. It was like, hey, for $100 an hour, you can come work with me. And, you know, this is a service interaction. And now it's like, okay, CPG, consumer packaged goods. I got to buy all my ingredients up front. I got to buy my packaging and somehow market this and get people to buy it, which honestly, thanks to Devin for the whole, like, I sold gym memberships before a gym even existed. So, like, I kind of had confidence in myself in that way. But, I mean, those 3 months, I think, tried to convince myself that I could do it before I was ready to do it. I think originally I thought that I had to have everything perfect before I could launch, like, my end game packaging, my end game recipe, and like facility and everything like that. And then I got to a point last August where I was like, you know what, you just got to like rip it and go for it. So I was working out of a kitchen down the road from here actually. And I was like, I'll buy like, it was like $20 an hour to go be there for like 6 hours. I'm just going to go make a bunch of bars. The week before I wanted to launch, I just posted an Instagram post. I bought packaging and ingredients like wherever I could find them online, and just launched it. And it's been word of mouth since the jump. I haven't done any like paid advertising or anything yet. Thankfully, coming from that background of having clients and things like that, like everyone's kind of in the same realm anyway. But it's been and has been the entire time just trying something, whether it's something that I kind of knew would work or like totally winging it and just going with it, and adapting as I go. So it's been crazy to try and actually get it up and running. but it's been successful since the beginning with the way that I've gone about it. So, yeah.
And why protein bars? Did you notice like a niche in the market or an opening in the space that you wanted to get into?
Yeah, so it's arguably like a saturated market. There's so many protein bars you can choose from. But I kind of see it as like there are high protein bars that, the fitness industry would be really drawn to, and the ingredient list is whatever it is. It's full of artificial sweeteners, additives, anything that you need to get the right calorie goal. And then there's clean label bars that have really high quality ingredients, but they don't have the protein content that you're looking for. And there's kind of this area in the middle where people don't mix the two, where it's like you can get your 20 grams of protein and this is going to be an awesome thing for you to eat before or after your workout, but you can also have those high quality ingredients. So I saw the need for creating something that's like the closest thing we can get to real food, but is still something that you can take on the go with you and run. I think a lot of people are why not a protein powder or like some other supplement or something like that? And to me, like I want it to be food. Like I wish we could all like sit and have a meal every day that's like from a farm and like we know how the animals are raised and treated and things like that. But that's not the way the world is right now. Like we're on the go and that's cool. But having a high quality product that you can be comfortable taking with you wherever you are, that's something that I really wanted to create.
Yeah, that is so true. Like to having it on the go, having it readily available, especially like in this world, it's nice to have that.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, and it's been cool for me. Like, yes, protein bars are like fitness products, and a lot of my clientele are like CrossFitters and gym goers, but it's so cool for me to have someone that's like just a nurse who maybe like dabbles in fitness or something like that, but like your bar got me through my overnight shifts that I worked 4 days in a row, and it's like perfect. That's what I want for you. I had a woman who was like, these got me through chemotherapy. They're like the only thing I could eat, and I was like, that's exactly what I want out of this. Like this is a lifestyle bar. It's like this isn't just the endurance supplement that I think is so popular right now. Is like these high performance things for hybrid athletes or like whatever it may be. It's like this is for you. Like you're a human and you still need something to get you through your day, no matter if you're working out today or not. Like you need that high quality product.
Sure. And how do you decide like what goes into the bar? So it's like you're kind of weighing taste and nutrition. Like you mentioned, how do you decide like this is the ingredient I'm going to put in, this is the amount of X I'm putting in here?
Yeah,
so me and Drexel so all these like natural supermarkets have restricted ingredient lists.
Okay.
So like Whole Foods, Sprouts, there's this one called Mom's. It's like Mom's Organic Market or something like that. They have the strictest ingredient list. So they have this, like, you can get it publicly on their website. Just everything they will not allow in any of the products that they sell in store.
Oh, wow.
So we took the strictest one and we're like, this is what we're going with. From there, it was like, okay, I want to see 20 grams of protein minimum no matter what. So, like, what ingredient can I use to get there? Whey protein is the main thing, plus, like, the protein puffs that I have in there helps with that. And then the amount of carbs and the amount of fat also kind of played into what ingredients could go into it. So I knew that for me, anything lower than 10 grams of fat is like a good place to be. Anytime it's double digits, it's like, okay, that's maybe not the best thing to have around your workout because of the way our bodies work. And then having carb sources that are actually energy. So that like kind of plays into my whole, like, yes, I don't have artificial sweeteners in there because of those restricted ingredient lists, but also like those aren't fuel sources, and I want this to be fuel for your body. So I'm going to put a sweetener in there like organic brown rice syrup and date syrup that are actually going to do something for your body and help you reach your goals, whether that's athletic or in life. So all of that kind of came together, and then it's like depending on the flavor, it's like what's the highest quality ingredient I can put in there to get the flavor. So like for the salted fudge brownie, like high quality organic unsweetened cocoa powder, cool, let's add that in. And then I just mess around with it and see what happens.
It's just like trial and error until you get one that.
Yeah, like the salted fudge brownie flavor, total selfish make. Like I'm a chocolate fiend. The graham cracker and chocolate was like the original flavor, and everything else has just been an iteration that I've made in my mom's kitchen. So I just the one day was like, I'm just gonna like swap some of this for some cocoa powder, and thankfully that one came out perfect first try. Other ones are like are not like that. But it makes it a really fun thing for me. And I think it'll be cool to see, even as I grow, like what high quality ingredients can I get like locally or support other small businesses.
Oh, yeah.
And
cool.
use those to put in. So that's a cool like avenue that I'm excited to explore.
Yeah, that's really sweet. There's always something great about like staying local and keeping
For
it,
sure.
you know, at home and all that as well for like the ingredients.
Yeah.
How are you, I know you mentioned like word of mouth's been like your biggest grower of the business. Like,
Yeah.
how do you see that changing? Like, what are your marketing moves going forward?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and use organic social content as much as possible. I do events, like I try and do a couple a month, whether that's like a CrossFit competition, or like wellness fairs and things like that, and those help a lot too. So just like actual physical presence out in a place like that. I think just like selfishly, I kind of want to see how far I can go without paid advertising. There was some other really big company that I was like listening to a podcast of that's like a multi-million-dollar company that never did paid advertising. And I was like, that's sick. It's just cool to say. Not that you necessarily like have to go that route. But just being able to like expand that way, it's cool to like talk to someone in Delaware who's like, I told my coworker in Kentucky to order and they're going to order from you.
Wow.
But I also don't intend right now to go retail at all. So the way that I'm advertising is very much like through Instagram, making it known that like this is pretty much an online business. Like this is how we're running with it. So going to different gyms and stuff like that is like using myself as the advertising and talking it out. And that's kind of like what I'm going to roll with until it stops working.
Yeah.
But right now it's working. So
Yeah. And you have like a product, like it's like a launch, right? So like how you sell yours, it's like you can't just always buy them, right?
No, never.
Yeah.
Every other week. So it's pretty much been that since I dropped at the beginning of September. It's like every 2 weeks you get a password and you can go on and buy them until they sell out, which is usually like 30 to 45 minutes of them being up there, which is fun. It's like gamification of it, and like a lot of clothing brands do it. So why can't you do it in other realms? It's kind of
like
a point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people have an issue with it because they're like, I can never get bars. And I'm like, well, how bad do you want them? Because, like, there's people who
the
have
reminder.
gotten them every time. Yeah. It's also, I mean, that's partly a production thing. Like, me and my mom literally make all of them by hand. And that, at this point, is, like, over 20,000 bars. But if I just always had them on my website, I would just literally always have to be in the kitchen making bars and packing them. And that's just not the experience that I want to have selfishly. And, like, I don't want my consumers to have that either. Like, I want this to be a brand where, like, I'm able to write you a handwritten note when you get a box, and, like, I can do all of that and get them to you in each drop in a very manageable way and make sure that the quality stays high at this point. So, I mean, the drops are getting bigger, so hopefully it'll be easier for people to get them. But as of now, that style is for sure staying my way of selling for the foreseeable future. It's fun.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Have you had any like really unexpected challenges that have come up in that process?
Supply chain has been really interesting the last couple of months with like everything that's going on in the world. The biggest difficulty right now is with the stage where I'm at, where like I can very easily, like not very easily, but I have a lot of opportunity to scale quickly right now. Like I have a D1 university that just put in an entry-level order, and like if things go well, we can be selling bars to like all of their athletes, which is great.
Oh, wow.
But
cool.
yeah, it's dope. But you then have to get a certain amount of ingredients up front to make those bars, and suppliers don't want to talk to someone at my stage. So like to be in the super early stages is great because you can get smaller amounts of the ingredients at a somewhat reasonable price and be able to produce and keep it going. But to then get to the next one, they're like, okay, but now you have to buy a full barrel of protein powder for a couple of $1,000, and we won't sell you anything in between. So that's like the biggest challenge, because I'll like buy out where I buy either like my packaging or my protein powder from, and then all of a sudden it'll just be like gone for a little bit, and it's like, oh my God, I have a drop next week and I literally can't produce bars. So that's been interesting to deal with. I mean, kind of speaking back to like the local thing, that's the avenue that I'm exploring right now, is like local-ish dairy farms that produce their like milk and cheese and whatever, and then use their excess whey and dehydrate it and make protein powders. I think that's actually going to be like my best avenue to go through, because I can actually get in touch with them. So that's something I'm exploring currently to try and see, because this like in the middle area of ingredient supply is pretty difficult, because they don't see your growth the way that I see my growth. But other than that, just like production itself, like there's only so much you can make by hand while it's still being like, if I'm making bars in the kitchen, I'm not out making content or making connections or accounts and things like that. So I have to be realistic with what I want to produce and like what I can produce at one time.
Sure. And why the name Reframe? Like what sparked you to make that the name?
I love stoicism and
Okay.
like philosophy and things like that. So like there's a big thing in stoicism of just like framing things, like you can look at it from different lenses. Like the same incident can look one way to one person and one way to another, depending on what frame you look at it. So to me, reframing your nutrition is like we look at it so often through the lens of like social media and how influencers or mainstream media tells us to look at it, when in reality it should be doing it to become the best version of yourself physically and mentally. And that is a total reframe of how you've had to look at it for, I mean, pretty much all the time leading up to now, because there's been so much misinformation over the years. So I really wanted it to be a brand that's different. Like I want it to be something that changes people's minds, because a lot of companies just ride off of the trends right now. And whether those trends are good or bad, I mean, I think a lot of them do a disservice to people in the fitness industry. And I think the fitness industry is getting better with it, like not putting stereotypes on men and women. But I think the supplement brands are a couple steps behind in that. Like they're still like, I'm going to create a keto bar, or like we're going to make this bar like pink and fluffy for the women, and like this carb grenade killer bar is going to be for the men.
Yep.
And it's like, nah, we're changing that now. Like it's time for that to end.
We're reframing that.
We're reframing that. We're done with that. Reframe your nutrition.
No, I love it.
That makes sense. I feel like it is confusing as a consumer. Like there is so many bars out there, and you're like, what is healthy? What's not? What should I be eating for? It's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be thrown at you.
And it's so subjective right now too, in terms of like what is clean label? Like what artificial ingredients do we accept? What don't we accept? And unfortunately, like so many of the leading voices in nutrition are just people who look good, and whether or not they have like the educational background to be speaking the way that they do, they look a certain way, so you pay attention to them, and then they have to speak in black and whites so that you believe them. So like they're gonna have a really strong opinion on something and convince you really well, whether or not it's true, and then they create a product, and then that's like what everyone goes to, and it gets so confusing, and it's simple, but it's not nutrition, you know? Like it doesn't have to be this like we have to demonize everything type of world, but you know, we just confuse everyone for no reason. It's always been that way.
Yeah. And like, how do you kind of dictate like what's a good ingredient, what's a bad ingredient to put in like protein bar? Like what should the consumer be looking for? Like you see a lot with like seed oils and artificial sweeteners and all this stuff. Like what should people be paying attention to?
So my thing is like, again, it's all subjective. I don't know if there's something out there where it's like a legit certification of like this is clean label, and there's some overarching organization that's like stamp of approval.
Yeah.
So I think like I can look at a protein bar and it'll say clean label and it has ingredients that I don't agree with. It's like, what do we think is processed versus not processed? And I think that's all just us having different definitions of it. In my personal opinion, you should recognize most of the ingredients. There's some in mine like that you might not recognize, but you can look it up and realize that it's just something like it's a word you're not familiar with. I don't put artificial sweeteners in because I don't think it aligns with my brand, but I also don't think they're going to kill you tomorrow if you consume any of them. So it's just up to you as a person of like, okay, if you're 90% of the time eating whole real foods and then you go and eat a protein bar that has like added sugars in it, like my bars do because there's organic brown rice syrup and date syrup, like you don't have to look at the sugar and freak out. But if all you eat are artificial sweeteners, then maybe you don't eat that other bar that has artificial sweeteners in it because that's what your whole diet is made out of. So I think it's one of those of like realizing what makes the most sense in your life. If artificial sweeteners don't mess with your stomach, which like you're the 1% of people that don't get stomach discomfort from artificial sweeteners, then like go for those bars if they align with you. But I just don't put them in mine because so many people do experience that discomfort and we don't know the long-term effects. So it's like you kind of have to use that. What does healthy mean to you? Like what's going to make you feel good about your diet and your day-to-day? And then what ingredients fit into that? So if someone thinks that artificial stuff can mesh in, cool. I personally try to avoid it as much as possible just because, you know, we don't know what's going to happen with it. So I don't think we have to demonize anything, like the no seed oil thing, the no artificial sweetener thing. I just think we should be smart about it.
Boom. That was a great answer.
Yeah, I think that's a really good answer. Have you had any issues with like the FDA requirements or food safety requirements?
So I get regulated by the PA Department of Agriculture. The FDA is like technically involved in it because I sell across state lines. So as I get bigger, there'll become an issue with it. But no, I mean, they're really cool to work with. They come out and they like check the kitchen every couple months and things like that. As of now, I mean, with different regulations and things that are getting banned and whatnot, like, again, I follow like such a strict ingredient list that I'm like kind of in the clear versus some other people who use food colors in their products, and some of those artificial bars like might start running into problems. But I feel pretty comfortable that I'll like be good with them. But yeah.
It's interesting how they like regulate it and how it's all done behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
That's not what you see as the consumer, but I'm sure
For sure.
it's something that comes up.
And it's funny because it's so interesting. Like, I was at an event, like a gymnastics event a couple months ago, and to my right was Nothing Bundt Cakes, which is like a big corporation, and then to my left was a like small cookie dough company. So I'm in between them, and like depending which way people came from, the people coming from like the Nothing Bundt Cake side assumed that I was like some big corporate company, and they were like, oh, like, where are these made? And I was like, oh, I make them. And they just like assumed that couldn't be so. And then the people coming from the other way were like, oh my God, this is so cute. Do you make them in your kitchen? And I was like, no, like, I'm regulated by the PA Department of Ag. Like, I'm in a legit commercial kitchen. There's standards that I have to uphold and everything like that. So I think it is funny when it's a small business, people assume that it's like you can technically make them in your kitchen if you don't have an animal. Like, there's a separate certification for that. But I was like, no, I'm a legit business, I swear. Like, this is a real deal thing, and there's regulations in place here. So.
Sure. And like, what have been some of the biggest lessons you've learned that maybe you weren't expecting when you first got into this?
Ooh, really good question. I think a lot of it has come down to like realizing that when you start a business that is your own, like, you have that responsibility. And I think that's a good thing and a bad thing. Like, I feel like in the early stages of a business that's growing and it's a little bit slower and you're like, oh my God, like, what's going to happen? Like, am I going to fail? I think I just had to learn that, like, I have to trust myself, and the decisions that I'm going to make are going to either work out or not, but I'm going to be able to take that next step to get over that. It's been kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like relieving in a way to know that, like, I'm in total control of what's going to happen. I'm not like scared of failure because I don't see that as an option for myself. So I've just had to like learn the trust in myself that this is all going to turn out the way that I want it to, because I'm in complete control of it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. That is great advice for like anybody who needs to hear that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I think the other part of it being like, I started this business because I wanted something that was my own. And after working in the fitness industry for so many years, the first thing you do when you're a personal trainer is take care of someone else's health. And like, you wake up at 5:30 in the morning and you got to be hype for like 7 people who are standing in front of you to take care of them mentally and physically, because it might be a therapy session that morning for them, or they might need you to hype them up for a heavy deadlift. So to finally get to a place of like, I can wake up in the morning and I can think about myself and like what I need to do that day, whether that's personally or professionally, I have to remind myself that like, that's why I started. So like, a big thing for me has been like, if I'm stressing for a whole day, like, I told myself I was doing this so that I could be a better version of myself, and I have to like learn to step back and be like, no, I need to give myself an hour a day to work out. Like, that's the whole reason I did something on my own, is so I could take care of myself in different facets of life. So checking myself to not just fill up my whole day with work and stuff like that has been a big thing for me, especially in the last couple months as growth has become more of a thing. And just reminding myself to bring that back down.
And that's a tough thing, especially like when you're first starting, like first year or so, you know, of like having the company. It's definitely hard to find that balance.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the same thing for you guys. Like,
Sure.
You just get in the whirlwind. I think that's like something Devin talked about a lot. It's like,
yep.
you're in the whirlwind of the day to day, and it's like, well, that's not going to do anything for us long term. Like, if we're just spinning our wheels all day, the business is going to go nowhere.
Exactly. You got to remember why you started it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the flavors? I'm curious.
So the flavors that stay, salted
best
fudge
flavors.
brownie. I call it the OG. It's the graham cracker and chocolate, and then the sugar cookie. And then I was doing like a very frequent rotation of seasonal flavors. Right now, there's only those 3 because I'm working on a fun one.
Shoot.
Yeah, it'll be dope. Actually, I can talk about it, but it's not like a secret or anything like that. But my favorite cafe down in Delaware, Cafe Karma, they are the best. The owner, Katie, is like single-handedly changing health in Delaware. She's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, but I'm going to turn their signature latte into a bar, which is blueberry maple pancake.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds
Oh, wow.
insane.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I'm going to
okay.
try and
Alright.
use their like used espresso pucks, dehydrate them back down to an espresso powder, put them in the bar, and then like use some freeze-dried blueberries and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
That
the
does,
seasonal
that does.
stuff is fun to play around with. I hope I can like hit the flavor spot on. And then I'll do the next one after that will be a collab with my friend who's an influencer. So we'll do one too, and like hopefully get some like cool content of how they use it in their life. But the seasonal flavor like keeps it fun, I feel like. Did you ever have one
Definitely.
of them?
Which one?
Any of the seasonal ones?
Yeah, and my next question was I got to ask, are you bringing back the chocolate covered strawberry? 'Cause that's my all time favorite. right
Yeah, that
It
flavor
is
is good.
strawberry
Yeah.
season.
Yes,
It was
I
so
know.
good.
I think I ran that one twice, technically. I ran that one last summer for the first time with white chocolate on the back, and then you got it with the dark chocolate this winter.
there. Yeah.
I discontinued it fast because I don't know what happened to freeze-dried strawberry prices, but
Oh,
it
they
went
skyrocketed?
unreal. Yeah. So that's why it disappeared so quick on you. I know
Gotcha.
you were sad about that one. That was like a 1 month thing, and then it was like, sorry guys, it's gone.
It was good.
But for you, I will bring it back.
Ah, I appreciate
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
I appreciate
We'll
it.
do a specialty flavor box just for Simmons Media.
Oh, maybe we could collab on one.
Yes,
Wow.
that would be sick.
Yeah.
How do you fuel your podcasts with chocolate-covered
That's
strawberry
right.
bars?
That's right.
Obviously.
Before every podcast, I eat a
true.
chocolate covered strawberry reframe bar.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
You got to get up to the point of eating like 3 a day. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Shoot, I was at 2.
Yeah,
I was at
you're
2 for a
close.
while.
You're close. I guess I
Yeah.
have easier access to them where I
True.
can like run myself through the supply a little bit
That's
more.
true. That's true.
Taste test your own supply.
Oh my God, yeah. You got to make sure they're
Yeah.
going out the right way. What if this batch isn't good? I got to
Right.
know. 1 bar from each batch.
Absolutely. Sweet. And I mean, what's next for Reframe? Where do you see it going?
World domination.
Let's
That's
go.
what I tell everyone. No, really exciting things coming up. I just moved into like a bigger space in my kitchen. So bigger drops coming. Got some sick merch coming out in a couple weeks. And then just trying to like grow step by step. I would love to get bars into like as many people's hands as possible. Shipping to all 50 states is like a goal of mine. I don't know where I'm at now, but it's close to 20.
Nice.
Yeah. And just taking it as it goes. I mean, I love every step of this process. So I just want to keep getting the name out there to people and seeing what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I'm excited to even try some of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I haven't had any yet. But
Got to get you in on them.
I
Gotta
gotta
try 'em.
the next batch, the next launch, I'll have to
Yes, sir.
put my name in the hat.
Next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
There
Oh,
it is. They will switch to Sunday soon, but for now, you're good with Tuesday at 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And Katie, how do we connect with you? How do we buy your bars?
Reframeprotein.com. My Instagram is honestly the best place to get information because I post on there all the time. Reframe Protein is that. And then my website, if you go on, put your email in, you'll get access to the email list, which is like the only way to get bars. Because once that password goes out, it's a fast game. Honestly, I don't think it ever goes. I don't think the password ever comes off the website. I think the email list usually sells it out before I even put it public. So you have to be on the email list for that.
So we'll definitely have to put the link for that on there on the podcast as well, so people can sign up.
For sure.
Awesome. All right, Katie.
Cool.
Well, thanks.
awesome.
so
Thanks,
much
guys.
For coming on.
Yeah, this was
awesome.
great.
Yeah, long time in the
Appreciate
making.
it. I know, for real.
Awesome.